Okay, so today we're going to make some Kalua pork.
It's a really flavorful, salty meat that goes great with rice. It's a Hawaiian luau favorite.
Right, they usually cook a pig in a pit for like 16 hours, but it's going to be a 90-minute cook time in the pressure cooker.
This
and
is
it's going
our
to be fall apart tender.
Instant Pot style Kalua pork.
So we're going to use pork shoulder, or pork butt it's often called. And it's a fattier cut. You don't want to substitute a lean cut on this.
You want this because it'll break down. Like, you don't have to worry, you can use a fat separator to get rid of the fats later on, but you want it to break down into this really succulent, yummy meat.
Right, so we're going to start by browning it, so go ahead and add the oil.
This one is the oil. By the way, I'm Jen.
And I'm Barbara.
We're with Pressure Cooking today. So we've got our oil. Oh, that's hot.
Go ahead and add our roast right in.
So we've split the pork into two different pieces. That helps shorten the cook time. Your meat in your Instant Pot cooks based on the size of the meat. So when you cut the meat in half, you cut the cook time down.
It's half as thick, and so it cooks faster.
Yeah, it cooks faster. Not exactly half as fast.
So we've got 4 pounds of pork shoulder, and each of these cuts is about 2 pounds. So there's not very many ingredients to this dish, so we really recommend that you do the browning. It adds flavors to the juices, and you're going to want to use those juices to pour over the meat and pour over some rice.
It's super yummy.
So be sure and do the browning step.
So we are cooking this in the Instant Pot Evo. The Evo has a nice flat bottom pot. If you're making this in like a Duo or a Duo Nova or in like a Ninja or another brand, the bottoms of their pots are domed a little bit, and so the cooking liquid will run to the side. So every once in a while you can just pick up your pot and kind of swirl it to get the liquid, or the oil evenly distributed.
So the Evo has been replaced by the
Instant Pot Pro,
which is super fun. Now they've got some favorite buttons that you can save your favorite cook times.
But they all still have the same flat button pot and the same basic.
And the handles that make it
love the handles.
Easy to cook. All right, let's check and see if we've got a sear on that. If it lifts up from the bottom of the pot easily, then you've got a good sear. This one needs a little bit longer.
And then do you brown every side, or do you just brown one or two sides?
I'll usually brown both sides of it, but not every side, just
for
two sides. Yeah.
You want to get enough to get the flavor without spending all day browning it.
Is this my Evo or yours?
It's your Evo. I don't have an Evo.
So now we're going to take the meat out, and then we're going to use the water to deglaze the pan. Deglazing, all that means is just scrape up all that flavorful browning bits at the bottom of the pot.
You really want those flavor bits. They really make a big difference in the way your finished dish tastes. And if you don't deglaze, another thing that you can run into is you can get the burn notice as the stuff that's stuck on the bottom of the pan gets too dark and messes with the sensors on the temperature.
Okay, so we've got the pot deglazed. We're going to add our liquid smoke.
So liquid smoke is pretty cool. It comes in this little bottle, and just a little bit really adds a lot of flavor, so I wouldn't skip it. Your meat will not taste the same without the liquid smoke. We
use the hickory flavor. We like that.
That's right, it's liquid smoke.
And it's just a tablespoon of it, but really you need that smoky flavor for this dish. So we're going to add the meat back in that we've browned.
And you just kind of want to make sure it's got as much room between it as possible. You don't want to smash it together too tightly, so giving it some room around it allows the steam to come up around it and allows it to cook as two separate pieces instead of just one great big hunk of meat.
And so now we'll add the coarse kosher salt.
You can use.
There's a pink Hawaiian salt, which they often use with Kalua pork, but you want this to go right into the meat. It's going to be salty and flavorful. It's just a tablespoon, so not overly salty.
No, and you don't want to switch this out for table salt.
Then it would be too salty.
That would be too salty. The kosher salt, because it's a little bit thicker,
coarser.
It cooks different. So
we'll just grab the lid.
Yep. As always, check to make sure the ring is in place. Lock it in place and set the cook time
for 90 minutes.
90 minutes. So this is a good one. You can put it in, and then you can go and
help the kids with their homework,
watch a movie,
or mow the lawn, or
no, don't mow the lawn. Do something fun.
So we'll be back.
So we have done the natural pressure release, removed the lid, and now we're going to get the meat out.
It's tender, fall apart, so you're going to want to use some tools to help you get it out.
I usually use 2 forks. I don't have a cool scooper like Barbara has, and like half of it will fall back in the water and splash, but that's all right.
This one kind of is already falling apart in the pot.
Okay, so you need this, right?
Yeah,
I've never done it with your strainer before, Mom.
it'll be good.
Will it?
Just do it slow.
Gently. Great.
It's squashing a little bit. We'll clean up. Perfect, that's good.
Okay,
Let's set that in there.
perfect.
But see that fat, how it's separating out? And then we're just gonna shred this pork. And while you're shredding it, if there's any little bit of fat that you just wanna discard, just set it off to the side. See how succulent, delicious that is.
Mom's a little more patient than I am. Sometimes I'll take to it with big old kitchen shears and cut it up into smaller bites and then shred it just to make me feel like I'm making progress.
And then we're gonna put it back in the pan and add a little of the juices. Do you usually do that? So the pork is all shredded. Now we're gonna add it back into our pan.
Let me get
And
this out of the
we'll
way.
add some of the juices back in. Those juices are really super flavorful. And you want to keep this meat nice and moist.
I also like the flavor of the juices to add to the rice as you serve it. It's really yummy. And I like to be able to use the cooking pot to mix it up in, and we often just serve it straight out of the cooking pot. We're not doing anything too fancy. But always start lower than what you think you'll need. You can't take it back out. I guess you could, it'd just be a hassle.
You could heat it up and
Yeah.
the meat would absorb it.
And if we're gonna refrigerate it and eat leftovers the next day, I often will refrigerate some of the juice as well. I think, is that good?
Yep.
Okay. So now we've got our plate all ready. There we go.
We just put a nice serving here. Alongside our macaroni salad, we've got some white rice and some pineapple. You're eating Hawaiian, you have to have pineapple. They serve pineapple with almost every meal in Hawaii.
When we went there, we'd go to the Dole Pineapple Farm and get the pineapple ice cream. So I just put a little more juices over the top and a little bit on the rice.
There we go.
So we've got it all served up. We've got our Kalua pork, our rice, our pineapple, and our Amish macaroni salad. We like to serve it with pineapple. My son insists that we grill it, so we feed it with grilled pineapple. And then I like to, the same juices we use to add to the meat, I like to add just a little extra. I also like to put it on the rice too, just adds a little bit of flavor to that rice. And there you go. It's going to be delicious. I hope you enjoy it.